This is why dismissive avoidant individuals have affairs. And yes, attachment style does a really good job of predicting why people inside of long-term relationships cheat. I'm Dr. Sarah Hensley. I'm a specialized social psychologist, and I've been studying the science of attachment and attraction inside of romantic relationships for nearly 20 years. So, a little recap on dismissive avoidance for those that are new around here. Dismissive avoidants are individuals who grew up with profound childhood emotional neglect, and most of them don't even know that they were emotionally neglected because their parents gave them instrumental support, meaning that they went to the football games, they packed the lunches, etc., but they tended to be a family that just didn't do feelings. A smaller percentage of dismissive avoidants become dismissive avoidants because they've had severe trauma early in childhood, and suppression was the only known tool to cope with that trauma. But again, that's a small percentage of DAs. Most DAs describe their childhood as good. And usually it's only later in life when they've had several failed relationships or having problems in a long-term relationship that they find me and my content and they're like, holy moly, that describes me perfectly. I never knew this was even an issue, but my partner seems to be complaining about all these things, so maybe I'm the problem. But lately I've had a lot of clients whose partners have had affairs. And it just so happens that the majority of those clients have dismissive avoidant partners because the dismissive avoidant is statistically the most likely to have an affair. And in my experience, in my practice, as well as I believe that there's some science that also supports this notion that there's really one primary reason that DAs have affairs. And it has to do with their wounds. So, they have wounds around feeling trapped, feeling stuck, meeting other people's expectations, losing their independence inside of a relationship. And they're triggered primarily by the 3 C's: closeness, commitment, and conflict. All of the things that you need to have a healthy relationship long term. Yes, even conflict is healthy, especially if it's handled respectfully and securely. In order to understand this, you have to understand how the dismissive avoidance wounds become more and more and more activated over time, which causes them to deactivate or withdraw inside of the relationship. So just longevity in and of itself is very triggering for the DA, right? Over time, their marriage partner becomes what we refer to as the high stakes partner, okay? So any deep fears they have around vulnerability, around rejection, around being judged, around feeling controlled, really start to pop up with the high stakes partner over time, right? And so they shut down their own vulnerability in the marriage because it feels too dysregulating to be able to be vulnerable with the high stakes partner. That's where the affair partner comes in. Dismissive avoidants usually choose affair partners that are quote unquote beneath them in status, in education, and in attractiveness. And so, marriage partners, when they find out about this affair, they're like, why would they cheat with this person, right? They're not going anywhere with their life, or this person has a lot of problems, or, they're not even attractive or whatever. It's because they're choosing a low stakes partner. The lower stakes they can make the partner, the better it feels to the DA, because the DA can then release this pent-up need for vulnerability that their emotional walls will not let them release with the high-stakes partner. They can literally kind of emotionally dump onto the low-stakes partner, and it feels like this giant stress relief for them that they can just actually talk and share, because it is a basic human need that they have learned to suppress because subconsciously it feels shameful for them to do that. And so it feels very high stakes, very risky, potentially very weak, and they don't want to feel that way with the high stakes partner. And so they choose a low stakes partner to sort of dump it all out on. And obviously that can feel really, really awful to the marriage partner to know, oh, you couldn't be vulnerable with me, but then you choose this person and you're vulnerable with them and you've told them your deepest, darkest secrets, but I didn't even know that stuff about you. It's so painful. If you would like me to do more videos on why each of the attachment styles cheat or have affairs, please let me know. It seems like there's something in the water lately with people. People are a little out of pocket lately. I'm not sure, the energetic shift that's happening or something. But I can do that. And if you are interested in attachment, you can see me at my website, thedatingdecoder.com.